Hey guys, how you doing? As always, I kind of struggle for subjects to talk about, um, but a recurring theme lately has been what it kind of takes to keep going in jiu-jitsu, and it's not an easy path because it's pretty rare that people would sit down and dedicate themselves to something for like 10 years. Yeah, I mean, even going to uni or whatever, if it's 3 or 4 years, for a lot of people, like that's a big stretch. So I think the idea of like just committing yourself and trying to get your blue belt, for example, like that's, for most people, that's a 3 or 4 year kind of commitment. And even that's not going to be easy. If you're over 35, over 40, and you've got a wife and kids and a career and stuff like that, then just be realistic about what you can give in terms of time, and I think that people getting frustrated with themselves, especially if they see other people improving faster than them, or people who are able to train more often than them, it's very easy to kind of get despondent, I guess. And as a coach, as someone who is not that, then sometimes I think that it can be easy for us to overlook it. But realistically, if you're on the mat 2 or 3 times a week, even if you're on the mat occasionally once a week, yeah, even once a fortnight, life gets in the way sometimes. You've got to work a lot of extra hours. Your kids just happen to be sick, so you have to stay home a few days. Like, it's really, really easy to miss a couple of weeks training. And the important thing is that when you come back, like, don't be frustrated. Just enjoy. Remember that you enjoy training, and it's not just about like who's getting better, who's getting their belts, who's getting their stripes, who's not. Like, literally just turn up and enjoy the process of the class. Just come along, enjoy the warm-up, learning new movements, have some fun, crack a few jokes, hang out with your friends, get a bit sweaty, have a good workout, and then go home and like just enjoy doing that. And if you just keep doing that repeatedly, then great things will come. Stripes will come, belts will come, you'll get better, you'll get fitter, you'll make more friends on the mat, and I think that people just, I don't know, I don't know if it's like the new age of people with short attention spans or expecting everything now, or people just are not used to like work that has no end, that they can't just, like, if they're running, then they have to be like, well, what am I running for? Like, am I training for a race? Am I going to run a marathon? I'm like, well, why don't you just run because you enjoy getting out in the forest and going for a run? Like, isn't that enough? And I think that, especially for the guys over 40 and the guys over 50 for sure, like, I would just put competing completely out of your mind. Yeah, like, the risk to reward ratio is just so skewed in terms of significant injuries, time off training, and just, I see it every time that there's a competition that the guys decide that they want to train for. Everyone gets super stressed, a lot of people get sick almost immediately because they're starting to train super hard. They get frustrated with themselves. They don't seem to be enjoying their training, and like, yeah, it's a lot. I think leave it to the guys in their 20s, or even maybe early 30s, but I wouldn't even be bothering. There's so much to learn on the mat, and like, you're not beating everybody in the gym. So like, if you're that competitive that you need to be able to beat everybody in the gym, well, make that a small goal, or ask the coach. Like, I have a few different academies, around the place that I recommend that my students train at sometimes. And if they have their gear in their car and they can't make it to training, then I might, well, go to another gym, like, just drop in there and train for the night, especially if it's one of the ones that I recommend, because then I know that you're safe and you're going to get looked after and you're not just going to get beat up and hurt and stuff like that. But yeah, there's so much to learn on the mat that, and when I train elsewhere, like, probably 90% of the people that I train with are white belts. You know, I just enjoy getting on the mat with some new people and rolling around and having a few laughs, and it's great. And I pay for that, you know, like it's pretty rare that I'll go to an academy and not pay for training. Even though as a high level black belt, you're not, you know, you can't, it's weird because you don't have to pay, but I do pay. Yeah, I'm happy to pay because the person's got a business to run. The gym doesn't turn its own lights on. I mean, and if I'm popping in for the day and I'm getting something from it, then I feel happy to pay. I'll pay like 20 bucks or whatever, and that's great. I try and make it cash so the guy can put it in his pocket. The government doesn't have to get any of it, and that's 20 bucks that, you know, he can put towards whatever he wants, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's a little hard for me because I guess as I'm getting older and chilling out a lot more, and I'm still on the mat every day and I'm still learning a lot. I'll still train at other academies like 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm always wanting to learn, but it doesn't mean it's war every day. I mean, geez, I'll probably roll hard, like, I don't know, once every couple of weeks, you know, like, and by rolling hard, I mean, like, I don't want to train for like a couple of days afterwards. I'm very sore. But I train most days, I roll most days, I go for a run a couple of times a week, I do core work a couple of times a week, I stretch 2 or 3 times a day, and just enjoy the process. I don't understand why people can't just enjoy their training and feel the need to, you know, especially if they, you know, I don't know, if they I hate the term kind of hobbyists, but I guess if they're a hobbyist, then like, and you're enjoying it, then, you know, like, why take the big risk to the amount of injuries that I see in poorly run tournaments, even well run tournaments, especially in white belts. You get 2 white belts and it's horrible jiu-jitsu that is like tearing each other apart, and there's so many injuries. If you watch the guys who are in their 40s and over roll, like, they can barely move, most of them, you know. Like, I wouldn't even put them on the mat to fight in a tournament, you know. Like, focus on your movement, look after your body, get your body working properly before you even think about competing, you know. So I don't know, I don't have much to talk about. If you have suggestions as to what you'd like me to go over and stuff like that, then that's great. But it's hard to come up with subjects, you know. I mean, some things come up, they're kind of sensitive, and, you know, I don't want to talk about them, you know. But yeah, if you have any ideas, then just let me hear them. I'm happy to. So I don't know, just enjoy the process of training and learning. There's so much to learn, and we're not going to learn it in 3 lifetimes. There's just way too much stuff. So I don't see how people don't just get on the mat and enjoy their training, why they have to beat themselves up to be more or do more, or if they miss a couple of weeks because they're crazy busy, you know. Like, look forward to training. That's all. It's a fun time. It should be fun, you know, and it shouldn't beat you up so badly that you can't do it a couple of days later. Yeah, enjoy your training.